Hey everyone, I'm back with another update. As you can see, I'm in the same clothes as the previous two episodes, doing 3 episodes in one day, meaning I'm still sick. But I don't think I'm performing that bad, all hopped up on all these cold meds. Let me know how you think I'm doing in the comments on any social media platform. Anyways, in this episode, I'll cover an update from the Health and Human Services Department, the Minnesota Somali fraud scheme mess, and Maduro's day in New York City. Of course, I'll end with the noteworthy tidbits. The Health and Human Services Department and Trump administration dropped the recommended number of vaccines for children, with Secretary Kennedy saying, after an exhaustive review of the evidence, we are aligning the U.S. childhood vaccine schedule with international consensus while strengthening transparency and informed consent. This decision protects children, respects families, and rebuilds trust in public health. President Trump explained that children will still need vaccinations for 11 of the most serious and dangerous diseases, and parents can still choose to give their children all 72 vaccinations if they wish, and they will still be covered by insurance. All right, got that? Everyone that's upset about this? Also, the CDC still recommends vaccines for the measles, polio, whooping cough, the human papilloma virus or HPV, and chickenpox. On to the Minnesota Somali fraud scheme mess. Minnesota Governor Tim Walz dropped out of the 2026 governor's race and ran away from reporters, refusing to take questions after his announcement. The Department of Justice is launching an investigation into Walz for being criminally liable for the massive fraud, and President Trump posted proof that Representative Ilhan Omar's net worth suspiciously surged from negative to $30 million in just a few years. Senator Eric Schmidt is filing legislation to denaturalize Somali fraudsters and other felons in the United States, and ICE raids continue in the Minneapolis area. Conservatives are demanding a boycott on Hilton after they refused service to any DHS law enforcement in Minneapolis, and Hilton responded by saying that Hilton works with governments, law enforcement, and community leaders, and explained that the hotel involved in the incident is independently owned and operated, and the actions referenced are not reflective of Hilton values. Let's switch to Maduro's day in New York City. Nicolas Maduro and his wife Celia Flores appeared in Manhattan federal court in the Southern District of New York for their initial court appearance and arraignment on federal charges, including narcoterrorism, conspiracy to import cocaine, drug trafficking, money laundering, and related offenses stemming from a 2020 indictment, with additional details unsealed recently. Both pleaded not guilty to all charges, and Maduro, speaking through an interpreter, declared himself innocent, a decent man, and insisted he is still president of his country. He also referenced being kidnapped before the judge interrupted to limit such statements. U.S. District Judge Alvin Hellerstein presided, and no bail was requested or granted. The pair was ordered detained, likely in the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn, pending further proceedings. The judge set the next court date for March 17th of this year, and of course, there were protests about this. In New York City, real Venezuelans clashed with idiot leftists who are now apparently pro-king, and all over the country, Venezuelans celebrated. The Department of Justice is preparing their case against Maduro, who could face life in prison, and Speaker Johnson said that there was no War Powers Act violation, explaining, despite the claims of my colleagues, there is not requirement for prior congressional approval or notification. And also, the intelligence was so sensitive, the conditions had to be perfect. There was no predetermination of when exactly it would occur, and if there had been prior notice, even assembling the Gang of Eight. Congressman Tim Burchett pointed out that Joe Biden put a $25 million bounty on Maduro's head during his administration, and no one batted an eye, but when Trump took action, the Democrats opposed it. Now it's time for the noteworthy tidbits, which are brought to you today by Big Fork Brands. Let me tell you about them quick. Sometimes I get on a roll cleaning or gardening, and I need a boost but don't have time for a meal. Big Fork Brand's pork jerky is the perfect choice to keep my momentum, offering high-protein snacks for on-the-go energy boosts. Not only do they offer pork jerky, but they also make pork sticks, bacon sausage, bacon hot dogs, and burger and hot dog sauces. Products come in a variety of delicious flavors, including Thai green curry and maple and brown sugar for the meat options, and gangster and Chicago fire for the sauces. I personally think the original flavor of the pork jerky hits just right after tackling a big chore. It's a little salty and very flavorful. My discount code gives you 20% off your entire order, and it's currently the best deal available.
Just visit bigforkbrands.com and enter in my promo code JADE, that's JADE, at checkout.
All right, let's get back to the tidbits. President Trump endorsed Captain Ed Gulrine, who is running against Congressman Thomas Massie for Kentucky's 4th Congressional District. Vice President Vance's home in Ohio was vandalized, with the windows being smashed in, but luckily the Vances were not home at the time. A suspect has been arrested, and I'm sure it's a surprise to no one that the suspect's parents are Democrats that donated to Joe Biden and over $11,000 to Kamala Harris. Footage went viral of New York City Mayor Zohran Mamdani's tenant director stating that white people will be heavily impacted after they transition property as an individual good to a collective good. It was confirmed that Valero took a $1 billion loss to leave California. FBI Director Kash Patel confirmed the Trump administration just seized enough fentanyl to kill 175 million Americans. Senator Mark Kelly was censured by War Secretary Pete Hegseth, and there will be a reduction in his retired grade and pay due to his advocating for rebellion in the armed forces. The Trump administration exported over 100 million metric tons of liquefied natural gas in 2025, setting a new export record. The Corporation for Public Broadcasting dissolved itself after being defunded by the Trump administration. Seattle's new mayor ordered police to not arrest offenders for open drug use citywide. A federal grand jury indicted Georgia State Representative Karen Bennett for fraud. Bennett, a supporter of Black Lives Matter and defunding the police, allegedly defrauded the Pandemic Unemployment Assistance Program. Lastly, Dan Bongino confirmed he has declared war on the black pillars and grifters trying to hijack MAGA, and I'd like to see what that looks like, considering the very department he just left contributed to blackpilling and grifting due to their talking tough about prosecutions and draining the swamp and then not following through. But hey, at least he did better than his bosses, Attorney General Pam Bondi and Kash Patel, who never give up an opportunity to give a Fox News or podcast interview or post inaccurate updates on X. I could see how Bongino would be better working outside of the administration, considering the blowhards he had to work under. That's all I have for today. I'll be back with another update soon. Until then, please like, subscribe, and share this podcast, and follow me on Instagram and X at Shades of Jade Pod. Thank you for listening and have a great day.